please be seated? Good evening. Welcome to the Topeka Public Schools Senior Recognition Ceremony. We gather here tonight on the eve of the 60th anniversary of the landmark Brown v. Board school desegregation case to honor our seniors in the class of 2014 and their graduation from Capital City High School, Highland Park High School, Hope Street Academy, Topeka High School, and Topeka West High School. We are not only here tonight to honor the accomplishments of our graduates, but also to recognize the impact that the Brown decision has had on our city, our school system, and school systems across our nation. Without the courage of the plaintiffs in this case to challenge the status quo, separate but equal, our students today and for the past 60 years would have had a much different educational experience. So as we celebrate the achievements of our students, we must continue to keep the tenets of Brown in our forefront, ever challenging the inequities in our world. Our children deserve nothing less. As we continue with this ceremony, I would like to draw your attention to the emergency procedures for this building. In accordance with Kansas State Fire Marshal regulations, we request that you take a moment to identify the two emergency exits nearest you. We have checked these exits and the other emergency equipment in this building and verify that they are available for use in case of an emergency. In the case of an emergency, pay close attention to the announcer or your usher for important life safety information. In keeping with the dignity of the ceremony, please be advised that the use of air horns or noisemakers of any kind are strictly prohibited by Expo Center regulations. Thank you. Please rise for the posting of the colors presented by our combined Junior ROTC Color Guard and the singing of our national anthem. Cadet Major Ramos, march on the colors. Cadet Major Ramos, retire the colors. Please be seated. We will now have our choral selection performed by the combined choral ensemble under the direction of Mr. Steve Eubank. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Topeka Public Schools, Dr. Julie Ford.
What a great day for Topeka Public Schools, for Topeka, and for the state of Kansas. Graduates, we are eagerly awaiting your graduation ceremonies tomorrow. This evening, we not only celebrate your accomplishments as graduates, but we reflect on the 60 years ago tomorrow, May 17, 1954, the landmark decision of Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court case ruling was announced. This case is an important part of our city, state, and nation's history. It impacts our present and gives us hope for our future as we continue to focus on racial equity for all students. It is my distinct honor to introduce our honored guest here today on the stage. As I call your name, will you please stand? First, the First Lady of the United States and our featured speaker, Michelle Obama. The governor of our great state of Kansas, Sam Brownback, and his wife, Mary. Also on the stage today, the mayor of our incredible city, Larry Wolgast, and his wife, Anita. We are honored to have our present today, Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins. Our own Senator Anthony Hensley, Senate Minority Leader for the state of Kansas, and Highland Park teacher and his wife, Debbie. And it is our special honor today to have Catherine Carper Sawyer, a direct descendant from the Brown v. Board case, representing all the Brown v. Board plaintiffs. It is our honor today to have on the stage Glenn Singleton, author of Courageous Conversations About Race, who has continued to engage Topeka Public Schools in conversations about racial equity. And most important, representing our schools today, Deputy Superintendent Larry Robbins, Capital City Principal, Principal Tracy Lee. Highland Park High School Principals, Dr. Burl New and Dustin Dick, and graduate Alicia White. Hope Street Charter Academy High School Principal Dale Knoll and graduate Rosemary Torres. Topeka High School Principals Dr. Linda Wiley, Rob Hayes, and graduate Lauren Sherwood. Topeka West High School principals Jeannie Carton and Colin Cathy, and graduate Noah Lindquist. And finally, the Topeka Public School Board Vice President Dr. Peg McCarthy, Mrs. Nancy Kirk, Dr. Scott Michelson, Dr. Michael Morrison, John Williams, and C. Patrick Woods. The President of the School Board, Ms. Janelle Johnson. And in our crowd today, we have so many honored guests, including many state and federal judges, Assistant Commissioner of Education, Brad Nuenswander, state board members, including our own Carolyn Wims Campbell, many state legislators, county commissioners, our city manager, and city council members, including Nathan Schmidt, who has been instrumental in planning the Browning events, staff from the Brown v. Board Historical Site, and many, many direct descendants from plaintiffs and other dignitaries present in the audience. And we are also honored to have Secretary Sebelius in our presence today. And it is a privilege at this time to introduce Ms. Janelle Johnson, President of the Topeka Public School Board, who will share a few remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Ford. Graduates, distinguished guests, parents, family members, and staff, on behalf of Topeka Public Schools Board of Education, it is my distinct pleasure to greet you on this evening. As you can imagine, many people have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event become a reality. The coordination and effort of both local and White House staff has been monumental, but so worth it. To them, we extend a special thank you. To you, the graduating class of 2014, who have successfully completed your program of studies. Perhaps you've overcome obstacles that may have at one time seemed insurmountable, but you persevered, and we are here to celebrate the fruits of your labor. We would be remiss if we did not also recognize those friends, family members, and educators who have been there to speak an encouraging word, give a pat on the back, or simply lend an ear or a shoulder as you students prepare to face your next challenge. You, family, friends, educators, have been the wind beneath their wings. And make no mistake, your efforts have prepared them to fly. To our beautiful and most distinguished guest, the First Lady of these United States of America, Mrs. Michelle Obama, we extend a heartfelt welcome to the state of Kansas, to Topeka, and more specifically to Topeka Public Schools 2014 Senior Recognition. Beloved all over the world, a woman to coin a phrase from a great author, Paula Giddings, who when and where she enters with poise, dignity, and integrity. You have walked among kings and queens, yet today You are here to spend this special time with this 2014 senior class. So we thank you for coming, for adjusting your hectic schedule, and making this graduation celebration something that we will remember forever. We are humbled and honored by your presence. We are fortunate to also have, as mentioned prior, one of the landmark Brown versus Board of Education case plaintiffs on this evening. And Ms. Sawyer, Ms. Catherine Sawyer, if you don't mind, if you just wave your hand at us one more time, we certainly appreciate it. Unfortunately, many of the other plaintiffs still living here in Topeka could not be with us on this evening because of a prior engagement. But we take this moment to recognize and acknowledge all the plaintiffs' part in this history that changed the landscape of America. Each time I hear their counter stories, I'm struck by how ordinary individuals made a reasonable request that sparked a courageous conversation about race and education and brought about an unprecedented ruling that has afforded students all over this country the right to an equitable, quality education. Without such efforts, such sacrifices, we would not be able to enjoy the beautiful, colorful tapestry we see before us today. So to everyone, we are glad you have joined us on this momentous occasion. We invite you to savor this moment as we commend and celebrate this class of 2014. Thank you.
I am honored to introduce to you Ms. Alicia L. White. The daughter of Phil and Teresa White, Alicia is the valedictorian and senior class president at Highland Park High School. An outstanding scholar and a two-sport athlete, Alicia has been named to the 2014 All-State Academic First Team. She will be attending Tuskegee Institute in the fall, majoring in chemical engineering. Please join me in congratulating her on these honors as we welcome Ms. Alicia L. White.
Welcome to our inspirational and phenomenal First Lady and all our honored guests and families. My name is Alicia White. I am a senior at Highland Park High School. I am the class president and valedictorian. I will be attending Tuskegee University and majoring in chemical engineering. The fact that I am able to stand here today as a young African-American female and say this is a fact of Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education past. The past. It is hard to completely understand the past without understanding and knowing our future and our today. The Brown versus Topeka Board of Education in 1954 and 1955 is the past. It is also our today and our future. I realized that I was not even a twinkle in my parents' eyes in 1955. To be exact, my parents weren't a twinkle in their eyes either, in their parents' eyes either. And yet, the Brown versus Topeka Board of Education had to be done to move a nation to change, for me and for you. A poem was written that eventually became a song. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. The Declaration of Independence says that all men are created equal. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments assured us that certain legal God-given rights. Yet our country found that we still did not allow the harmonies of liberty for all. Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education Supreme Court decision said, "We conclude that in the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal. Our past was a long history of struggle, and as the poem continues, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not weary feet, come to the place from which our fathers sighed." The past simply said, we cannot continue. The fight was not to sit in the same room next to others, but to have the same opportunities, rights, and privileges as any American. The road of the past was stony and bitter, yet I stand here today. We are here today because of the past. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us this far, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. The past is the path that led us to our todays. I am here, our todays and our tomorrows. I am here because of the past. Despite our struggle to sit at graduation together, we are here. We have come a long way from our past, and we have even longer ways to go. However, the poem says, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. We must remember our past, learn from our past, and grow from our past lessons. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Rosemary Torres. Rosemary is a 2014 graduate of Hope Street Academy. She has served on the District Equity Council, the Graduation Planning Committee, and she is this year's recipient of the Superintendent's Award. Rosemary aspires to be a kindergarten teacher, and I have no doubt that she will be a fantastic educator. Miss Rosemary Torres.
Bienvenidos. Al mirar alrededor del salón, veo un mar de caras, diferentes culturas, diferentes orígenes étnicos y diferentes antecedentes. Veo caras llenas de esperanza, felicidad y llenas de amor y apoyo. Pero lo más importante es que veo una comunidad de personas que están aquí para celebrar y unirse aliados en uno de los ritos del pasado más importantes del cual nosotros, como jóvenes, participamos, la graduación de la preparatoria. No estamos celebrando solamente nuestra graduación, también estamos reconociendo a aquellos que han pasado antes que nosotros, aquellos que han hecho que este día de unión sea posible, aquellos que han luchado para que podamos sentarnos aliados uno al lado del otro, aquellos que han ayudado para que este día de celebración no se trate de la raza, sino de nosotros, los niños de hoy y los líderes de mañana. As I look around the room, I see a sea of faces, different cultures, different ethnicities, and different backgrounds. I see faces full of hope, happiness, full of love and support, but most importantly, I see a community of people here to celebrate and to unite as one on one of the most important rites of passage that as we young adults will partake in, high school graduation. We celebrate only not our day of graduation, but we also recognize those who have gone before us, those who have made this day of unity possible, those who have fought for us to sit beside each other as one, who helped make this day of celebration not about race, but about us, the children of today and the leaders of tomorrow.
Lauren Sherwood is the all-school president at Topeka High School. She is a NASA High School Aerospace Scholar, and in the summer of 2013, she was one of 90 young women from across the United States who was chosen to participate in a special NASA training program in Houston, Texas. Lauren is the recipient of the Self-Engineering Fellowship at the University of Kansas, where she will be attending next year and majoring in aerospace engineering and computer science. Please welcome Lauren Sherwood.
When people ask First Lady Michelle Obama to describe herself, she doesn't hesitate to say first and foremost, she is Malia and Sasha's mom. But before she was a mother or a wife, a lawyer, or a public servant, she was Fraser and Marion Robinson's daughter. The Robinsons lived in a brick bungalow on the south side of Chicago. Fraser was a pump operator for the Chicago Water Department, and despite being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at a young age, he hardly ever missed a day of work. Marion stayed home to raise Michelle and her older brother Craig, skillfully managing a busy household filled with love, laughter, and important life lessons. A product of Chicago Public Schools, Mrs. Obama studied sociology and African American studies at Princeton University. After graduating, go ahead. After graduating from Harvard Law School in 1988, she joined the Chicago law firm Sidley & Austin, where she later met the man who would become the love of her life. After a few years, Mrs. Obama decided her true calling was working with people to serve their communities and their neighbors. She was Assistant Commissioner of Planning and Development in Chicago's City Hall before becoming the founding Executive Director of the Chicago Chapter of Public Allies, an AmeriCorps program that prepares youth for public service. Promoting service and working with young people has remained a staple of her career and her interest. Continuing this effort as First Lady, in 2010, Mrs. Obama launched Let's Move, a campaign to bring together community leaders, teachers, doctors, nurses, moms, and dads in a nationwide effort to tackle the challenge of childhood obesity. Let's Move has an ambitious but important goal to solve the epidemic of childhood obesity within a generation. As First Lady, Mrs. Obama looks forward to continuing her work on the issues close to her heart, supporting military families, helping working women balance career and family, encouraging national service, promoting the arts and art education, and fostering healthy eating and healthy living for children and families across the country. And what an absolute honor it is to have her here with us today. When the news was announced, I thought we must have been on an episode of a spin-off of Punk'd. I thought Ashton Kutcher was for sure going to jump out from behind a vending machine in our cafeteria. And don't worry, Mrs. Obama, those vending machines are filled with healthy snacks and juices. But we weren't on an episode of Punk'd. At least, I don't think we were. Ashton, are you out there? I don't think he is. And I'm for sure we're not, because the First Lady is here on stage with me right now. It's crazy that I can say that, and it's an even stranger feeling for all of us to realize we are graduating from high school this weekend. What an absolutely outstanding and inspiring woman to witness this moment in our lives. An even greater honor it is to have her here with us tonight, especially on the eve of such a historic event in our community and country. In 1954, we all wouldn't have graduated together. We would have separate ceremonies, not divided by schools, but by race. The First Lady would only be speaking at one of them, and she would not have been a woman of color. But this is 2014. The group of student speakers, African American, Hispanic, Caucasian, female, and male, gives but a slight representation of the diversity our schools embrace and show pride in. Throughout each of our lives, we have been privileged to share memories and experiences with one another, regardless of race, religion, gender identity, or background. Tonight, we unify as one district, one class of 2014, to hear the first African American First Lady speak to us. What an amazing example of progress this evening alone represents. The class of 2014 is truly honored and humbled by the 60 years of growth, tolerance, and humanity which has made the event possible. While I could not imagine a more relevant public figure to share this important date in our community and country's history, there is not a better audience than the class of 2014 to hear her message. Mrs. Obama's advice and wisdom are important for us to soak up. And we, as seniors, are so appreciative of her traveling all the way to Topeka, Kansas to share her message. Recently, the First Lady launched the Reach Higher initiative, an effort to inspire every student in America to take charge of their future by completing their education past high school, whether at a professional training program, a community college, a four-year college, or university. The idea is to rally the country around the President's North Star goal, that by 2020, America will once again have the highest proportion of college graduates in the world. While it is nice to think Mrs. Obama is only here to cheer us on as we cross the finish line of our high school careers, we must realize she is actually here to give us the encouragement and motivation to continue through the next leg of the race. While we each experience our own failures and difficulties in the coming years, we must remember the First Lady, along with the rest of the nation, is rooting for us to reach higher and strive for success. Let us all remember 1 year from now when we will be stressing ourselves out, cramming for finals as we finish our freshman years at our various schools and programs. Let us remember when we receive our degrees and enter the workforce as the educated and driven generation which we are. Let us remember in 2020 when we, as the United States of America, can claim we have the highest proportion of college graduates in the world. But before we do any of this, we have some work to do. And we also must listen and be inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and pleasure to personally introduce our First Lady, Michelle Obama.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. Look at you guys. All right, you all rest yourselves. You got a big day tomorrow. I want you guys to be ready. It is beyond a pleasure and an honor, truly, to be with you here today to celebrate the class of 2014. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so proud of you guys. Days like this make me think of my own daughters, so forgive me if I get a little teary. You guys look great. We have a great group of students here. We have students from Highland Park High School. We have Hope Street Academy students here today. Topeka High School is in the house. And of course, we have Topeka West High School in the house. Tomorrow will be a big day for all of you. You all have worked so hard, I know, I can tell. You've come so far, and as you walk across that stage tomorrow to get your diploma, know that I'm going to be thinking of you all. I am so proud of you all and all that you've achieved thus far. And you have got so many people here who are proud of you tonight. You know, your families are here, your teachers and counselors, your principals, your coaches, everyone who has poured their love and hope into you over these many, many years. So graduates, let's just take a moment to give a round of applause to those folks as well. Tonight is their night too. Yes. Now I want to start by thanking Lauren for that amazing introduction. Yes, indeed. Well done, Lauren. I want to thank a few other people here. Of course, Secretary Sebelius, as you know, my husband and I are so grateful for all that she has done, her wonderful service. And I'm so glad that she and her family could join us tonight. And of course, I want to recognize Congresswoman Jenkins, Governor Brownback, Mayor Wolgast, as well as Superintendent Ford, School Board President Johnson, and all of your great principals, Principal Carter, New, Knoll, and Wiley. Yay. And finally, to our fantastic student speakers, Alicia, Rosemary, and Noah. Just hearing your backgrounds makes me feel like an underachiever. So thank you so much for your remarks about Brown versus Board of Ed. I know Noah is coming. You have approached this issue past, present, and future. And I think it's fitting that we're celebrating this historic Supreme Court case tonight, not just because Brown started right here in Topeka, or because Brown's 60th anniversary is tomorrow, but because I believe that all of you are soon-to-be graduates. You all are the living, breathing legacy of this case. Yes. I mean, just look around at this arena. Not only are you beautiful and handsome and talented and smart, but you represent all colors and cultures and faiths here tonight. You come from all walks of life, and you've taken so many different paths to reach this moment. Maybe your ancestors have been here in Kansas for centuries. Or maybe, like mine, they came to this country in chains. Or maybe your family just arrived here in search of a better life. But no matter how you got here, you have arrived at this day together. For so many years, you all have studied together in the same classrooms, you've played on the same teams, attended the same parties. Hopefully you behaved yourselves at those parties. You've debated each other's ideas, hearing every possible opinion and perspective. You've heard each other's languages in the hallways, English, Spanish, and others, all mixed together in a uniquely American conversation. You've celebrated each other's holidays and heritages. In fact, I was told that at one of your schools, so many students who weren't Black wanted to join the Black Students Club that you decided to call it the African American Cultural Club so that everyone would feel welcome. Way to go. So graduates, it is clear that some of the most important parts of your education have come not just from your classes, but from your classmates. And ultimately, that was the hope and dream of Brown. That's why we're celebrating here tonight. Because the fact is that your experience here in Topeka would have been unimaginable back in 1954. When Brown versus Board of Education first went to the Supreme Court, this would not be possible. As you all know, back then, Topeka, like so many cities, was segregated. So Black folks and white folks had separate restaurants, separate hotels, separate movie theaters, swimming pools, and of course, the elementary schools were segregated too. So even though many Black children lived just blocks away from their white schools in their neighborhoods, they had to take long bus rides to all Black schools across town. So eventually, a group of Black parents got tired of this arrangement, and they decided to do something about it. Now, these were ordinary folks. Most of them were not civil rights activists, and some of them were probably nervous about speaking up, worried they might cause trouble for themselves and their families. And the truth is, while the Black schools were far away, the facilities were pretty decent, and the teachers were excellent. But eventually, these parents went to court to desegregate their children's schools because, as one of the children later explained as an adult, she said, "We were talking about the principle of the thing." Now think about that for a moment. Those folks had to go all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States just to affirm the principle that black kids and white kids should be able to attend school together. And today, 60 years later, that probably seems crazy to all of you in this graduating class, right? You all take the diversity you're surrounded by for granted. You probably don't even notice it. And that's understandable given the country you have grown up in, with a woman governor, a Latina Supreme Court justice, a black president. You have seen Latino singers win Grammys, black coaches win Super Bowls. You've watched TV shows and characters of every background. So when you watch a show like The Walking Dead, you don't think it's about a black guy, a black woman, an Asian guy, a gay couple, and some white people. You think it's about a bunch of folks trying to escape some zombies, right? Period. And then when some folks got all worked up about a cereal commercial with an interracial family, you all were probably thinking, really? What's the problem with that? When folks made a big deal about Jason Collins and Michael Sam coming out as gay, a lot of kids in your generation thought, what is the issue here? And if someone were to say something racist on Twitter, well, I imagine that many of you would tweet right back, letting them know that's just not cool. You see, when you grow up in a place like Topeka, where diversity is all you've ever known, the old prejudices just don't make any sense. Seems crazy to think that folks of the same race or ethnicity all think or act the same way, because you actually know those folks. They're your teammates, your lab partner, your best friend. They're the girl who's obsessed with the Jayhawks but still loves computer science programming. The guy who loves the Wildcats and dreams of being an artist. That's the world you've grown up in. But remember, not everyone has grown up in a place like Topeka. See, many districts in this country have actually pulled back on efforts to integrate their schools. And many communities have become less diverse as folks have moved from cities to suburbs. So today, by some measures, our schools are as segregated as they were back when Dr. King gave his final speech. And as a result, many young people in America are going to school largely with kids who look just like them. And too often, those schools aren't equal, especially ones attended by students of color, which too often lag behind, with crumbling classrooms and less experienced teachers. And even in schools that seem integrated according to the numbers, when you look a little closer, you see students from different backgrounds sitting at separate lunch tables, or tracked into different classes, or separated into different clubs or activities. So while students attend school in the same building, they never really reach beyond their own circles. And I'm sure that probably happens sometimes here in Topeka too. And these issues go well beyond the walls of our schools. We know that today in America, too many folks are still stopped on the street because of the color of their skin. Or they're made to feel unwelcome because of where they come from, or they're bullied because of who they love. So graduates, the truth is that Brown versus Board of Ed isn't just about our history, it's about our future. Because while that case was handed down 60 years ago, Brown is still being decided every single day. Not just in our courts and schools, but in how we live our lives. Now, our laws may no longer separate us based on our skin color, but nothing in the Constitution says we have to eat together in the lunchroom or live together in the same neighborhoods. There's no court case against believing in stereotypes or thinking that certain kinds of hateful jokes or comments are funny. So the answers to many of our challenges today can't necessarily be found in our laws. These changes also need to take place in our hearts and in our minds. And so, graduates, it's up to all of you to lead the way, to drag my generation and your grandparents' generation along with you. And that's really my challenge to all of you today. As you go forth, when you encounter folks who still hold the old prejudices because they've only been around folks like themselves, when you meet folks who think they know all the answers because they've never heard any other viewpoints, it's up to you to help them see things differently. And the good news is that you probably won't have to bring a lawsuit or go all the way to the Supreme Court to do that. You all can make a difference every day in your own lives simply by teaching others the lessons you've learned here in Topeka. Maybe that starts simply in your own family. When Grandpa tells that off-color joke at Thanksgiving, or you got an aunt that talks about those people, well, you can politely inform them that they're talking about your friends. Or maybe it's when you go off to college and you decide to join a sorority or fraternity, and you ask the question, how can we get more diversity in our next PLES class? Or maybe it's years from now when you're on the job, and you're the one who asks, do we really have all the voices and viewpoints we need at this table? Maybe it's when you have kids of your own one day, and you go to your school board meeting and insist on integrating your children's schools and giving them the resources they need. But no matter what you do, the point is to never be afraid to talk about these issues, particularly the issue of race, because even today, we still struggle to do that. Because this issue is so sensitive, it's so complicated, so bound up with a painful history. And we need your generation to help us break through. We need all of you to ask the hard questions and have the honest conversations, because that is the only way we will heal the wounds of the past and move forward to a better future. And here's the thing, the stakes here simply couldn't be higher, because as a nation, we have some serious challenges on our plate, from creating jobs to curing diseases to giving every child in this country a good education. And we don't even know where the next breakthrough, the next great discovery will come from. Maybe the solution to global warming will come from that girl whose parents don't speak a word of English, but who's been acing her science classes since kindergarten. Maybe the answer to poverty will come from the boy from the projects who understands this issue like no one else. So we need to bring everyone to the table. We need every voice in our national conversation. So graduates, that is your mission, to make sure all those voices are heard, to make sure everyone in this country has a chance to contribute. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this will not be easy. You might have to ruffle a few feathers, and believe me, folks might not always like what you have to say. And there will be times when you'll get frustrated or discouraged. But whenever I start to feel that way, I just take a step back and remind myself of all the progress I've seen in my short lifetime. I think about my mother, who as a little girl went to segregated schools in Chicago and felt the sting of discrimination. I think about my husband's grandparents, white folks born and raised right here in Kansas, products themselves of segregation. Good, honest people who helped raise their biracial grandson, ignoring those who would criticize that child's very existence. And then I think about how that child grew up to be the president of the United States and how today that little girl from Chicago is helping to raise her granddaughters in the White House. And finally, I think about the story of a woman named Lucinda Todd, who was the very first parent to sign on to Brown versus Board of Education. See, Lucinda's daughter Nancy went to one of the all-black schools here in Topeka, and Mrs. Todd traveled across this state raising money for the case, determined to give her daughter and all our sons and daughters the education they deserve. And today, 6 decades later, Mrs. Todd's grandniece, a young woman named Kristen Jarvis, works as my right-hand woman in the White House. She is here with me today. She has traveled with me around the world. So if you ever start to get tired, if you ever think about giving up, I want you to remember that journey from a segregated school in Topeka all the way to the White House. I want you to think about folks like Lucinda Todd, folks who, as my husband once wrote, decided that a principle is at stake. Folks who make their claim on this community we call America and choose our better history. Every day, you have the power to choose our better history by opening your hearts and minds, by speaking up for what you know is right, by sharing the lessons of Brown versus Board of Education, the lessons you all learned right here in Topeka, wherever you go for the rest of your lives. And I know you all can do it. I am so proud of all that you've accomplished. This is your day. I am here because of you. And I cannot wait to see everything you will achieve in the years ahead. So congratulations once again to the class of 2014. I love you. Godspeed on your journey ahead. Thank you all. God bless you. I love you.
Mrs. Obama, we still have the future to discuss. I want to thank you so much for being here this evening and for coining a term I hadn't heard before, the breakthrough generation. I can think of no other generation than this class of 2014 who can fulfill that pledge. I also want to thank you for being so sensitive to the students, parents, and families of our graduates, as you so graciously chose to modify your own busy schedule to be here with all of us this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I now have the privilege to introduce a young man who is a natural leader, a role model for all young people, someone who will speak up and speak out, a stellar vocalist, actor, and choreographer who stars in school, local, and area musicals. Noah still finds the time to involve himself running in cross country, volunteering for younger thespians, and taking a rigorous Kansas Board of Regents curriculum that has provided him with a scholarship to Kansas State University next year, where he will be majoring in music education. Noah wants to be a teacher and help other students find the joy he has found in his own music and theater experiences. He is also the executive president of the Topeka West High School Student Council, advocating for the entire student body. Mrs. Obama, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you an outstanding leader, the son of Megan and Dan Lindquist, Mr. Noah Lindquist.
When I looked forward to my graduation, I never imagined that I might have the opportunity to offer comments on the same stage with our amazing First Lady. It is an honor, and it is very humbling to share this stage with Michelle Obama. It is also gratifying to be part of the graduating class of 2014 and the wonderful, supportive community of Topeka. These are our friends, our peers, our families, and educators who want us to succeed and have helped us reach this milestone. When we go out into the world after graduation, we have lots of choices to make. We can choose to walk alone, to isolate ourselves, and avoid many of the bumps and bruises that come with living. Or we can choose to participate in the world. We can choose to be good friends, to speak up when something is wrong, to cheer when something is right, to step up when leadership is needed, to follow when good leaders are present. It does not matter where we were born or went to school, where we choose to worship, or who we call family. We can step forward to be good American citizens. We can be like those brave students who made a difference in Topeka and across the country when the schools were finally integrated. Our issues might not be the same, but there are still battles that we can choose to fight and changes we can work toward. I encourage all of you, all of us, to stay brave, to stay youthful in our passions, our dreams for ourselves, for each other, for our nation, and for this world. Let me leave you with a final thought from American author Wilford Peterson. Walk with the dreamers, the believers, the courageous, the cheerful, the planners, the doers, the successful people with their head in the clouds and the feet on the ground. Let their spirit ignite a fire within you to leave this world better than when you found it. Thank you.
How about love?
have the esteemed honor to introduce the final speaker of the program this evening, a woman whom I consider a colleague, a mentor, a friend, and a genuinely loving person who never has an unkind word to say about anyone. She is a highly respected member of the Topeka community, and just this year won the Greater Topeka YWCA Woman of Excellence Award in Education, a prestigious and most deserved award. Dr. New is the mother of 8 fantastic children who all received their formal education in Topeka Public Schools and who each have gone on to further their education and make positive contributions to community, our society, and the nation. She is the principal of Highland Park High School, one of the greatest academic families in the nation, where she is responsible for 750 outstanding students who will all go far and do well. She is a committed educator who will continue to do all she can to make sure that every student in our city has the opportunity to learn in a safe and equitable environment in Topeka Public Schools. Mrs. Obama, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Burl New.
Thank you. As we close this momentous historic experience today, I can say that I am truly Kansas proud. I am proud to be born in a state where the corn grows high and the skies are not cloudy all day, where shame is overcome with unity, where ignorance is silenced by dignity, and where children of all ethnic backgrounds are valued and taught by highly qualified, caring adults. I want to thank the greatest First Lady in the world, the First Lady of the United States of America, Michelle Obama, for being our guest in celebration of this day. Thank you, Mrs. Obama. I can say that today I am truly Topeka proud. I am proud to live in this capital city of Kansas, where education for all children in settings that are nurturing and equitable is now a priority, where bold, transitive leaders such as Dr. Julie Ford and Board President Janelle Johnson are persistent in keeping the hope of courageous conversations about race and equity in our public schools and our municipality lively, alive, and well, where the stains of the misdeeds performed by errant managers 60 years and more in the past have been exposed, treated, and repaired through the tireless efforts of Topekans like Attorney Charles Scott, NAACP President McKinley Burnett, Reverend Oliver Brown, Reverend Ben Scott, Reverend Charles Sheldon, and countless other frontline warriors. I am proud to be a product of Monroe Elementary School and to have personally known and been taught by some of the finest Black educators in the city of Topeka. I am proud to be a 1970 graduate of Topeka High School, where I participated in the 1969 walkout that brought equity and minority representation to its student government, cheer squad, and royalty courts. A graduate of Washburn University twice, and the University of Kansas once, where most of the time, in both settings, I was the only one who was as brown as me in my classroom and among my cohorts, I am glad that I had the opportunity to come back and work in the same district that educated me, in spite of its historic struggles with the collective conscience of those who were charged with the welfare and care of all the city's children, not excluding those of color. Time passes and memories fade. Annals of history gather dust. But life goes on, and life is what we must perpetuate. Today, we are living the dream. Tomorrow, we will be part of living history. History constructed of Reverend Oliver Brown's passionate petition and Dr. Martin Luther King's achievable dream. They too would be Topeka proud today. We are also making history. President Barack Obama and the First Lady have made and will continue to make history. We are living brown and white and black and any other color we may choose to represent the beauty in which we are individually encased. Yet, we truly live when we realize that it is not the color that represents who we are. It is the life we choose to live. In closing, I want to share that I am not ashamed to admit that The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie and has been since I was about 6 years old. It's not just because it is set in Kansas, has amazing technicolor effects, has a quartet of characters that tickle my imagination, including a little girl with some sharp red shoes, and I love shoes. Oh, and Toto too. I think that after watching it about 100 times, I have grown to understand its symbolism. Whirlwinds come in life. We must learn to ride them out. Where we begin may not be where we end, and where we end may not be pleasant. But we have to stay on the right road, and it will eventually take us home. What we are looking for is often in our own backyard. There is no place like home. Just optimistically and obediently clicking your heels will get you where you need to be. I realized early in my life that where I need to be is in Topeka, and that's great because I'm Topeka proud. It's the land of the free and the home of Brown. It's not perfect, but it's working hard to get close. People who wear glittery red shoes end up in a museum in Wamego, Kansas. And those who stay on the yellow brick road achieve their goals. So there's hope for me yet. There's also hope for you, and that is the true message for this day. Your hope may be to get out of Topeka as fast as you can. Escape unpleasant situations, take advantage of great opportunities, or explore new frontiers. Or you may anticipate staying here for the rest of your life. Either choice is great because your destiny will be determined by the paths you choose, and wherever you settle will be your home. There is no place like home. But as you go forth, wherever the tides of time and the winds of life may carry you, be Topeka proud and make Topeka proud, because today, Topeka is proud of you. We would like to thank you all for coming this evening to share in this great occasion. May your life be filled with the joy that comes from doing great work well. May you value those who taught you to value a good education. May you go forth and do for others what has been done for you. Celebrate all of the gifts that you have been given. Celebrate your life. Celebrate this day. Good evening.